What up, people? Welcome to another edition of Mike Steph's Wrestlemania Memories. I believe we are up to Wrestlemania number 7. Now, as I might have alluded to in the last episode, these next 3 installments are very sentimental to yours truly. It's funny, I'm off and not on my way to the shoot job, but I am on my way back home from the gym, so forgive the attire. I don't want to do no impression of this mother effer, but I was in the gym, hanging and banging, baby. I did a 60-minute marathon Broadway on the treadmill, brother. Or more like, I was on the treadmill for 60 minutes, brother. And I was pushing and pulling and pushing and pulling, and the madness was going along in my head that was matching the energy in my feet and the pain in my legs. And I kept on going. You know why? You want to know why? Because I saw the lust in your eyes for a little bit. That's one impression I forgot to do last week. Last episode was, when Macho Man thought that Hulk Hogan, rightfully so, thought that Hulk Hogan was going after his woman. He said, "You got lust in your eyes for a little bit." I said it. Show it to him. Anyway, moving forward. Yeah, these next 3 installments, these next 3 WrestleManias are very sentimental to me for various reasons. These are the ages of 14, 15, and 16 Mike Steph. WrestleMania 7, which we'll be talking about in this edition, emanated from Los Angeles, California. Now, at the time, I had no idea all this was going on behind the scenes. But to give you a little bit of the backstory, WWF was planning on holding WrestleMania in Los Angeles, but at the LA Coliseum, Olympic Coliseum, which is supposed to hold 100,000 people. And they did not get nowhere near the tickets. They didn't sell nowhere near the tickets that they thought they were going to sell. This is also at the very beginning of the war in Iraq, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is 91. Gulf War. Yeah, the Iraq Gulf War. And the WWF, of course, capitalized on the controversy. Well, they made it controversial by turning long-standing fan favorite Sergeant Slaughter, the returning Sergeant Slaughter, who was pretty much a live and in color G.I. Joe for the last 6-7 years, not only into a heel, no, they turned him into an Iraqi sympathizer. One of the angles was that they wanted him to burn the flag on TV. They got persuaded out of it, i.e. Sergeant Slaughter was like, nah, I ain't doing that. Like, listen, I'm getting death threats as is, I ain't doing that. So they ended up burning a t-shirt of Hulk Hogan on one of the episodes of Superstars of Wrestling. This is right around the time that, to me, at the time, wrestling was getting stagnant. They took the belt, or Ultimate Warrior lost the belt at Royal Rumble against Sergeant Slaughter due to the help of the Macho King, which led to this double main event in my eyes. I don't remember if it was pitched as a double main event, but it was a double main event in my eyes. The main event was Hulk Hogan avenging the wrongs, the atrocities done by the Iraqi sympathizer, Sergeant Slaughter, and of course, going for his WWF title once again. And in the other main event, the real main event in my eyes, was the retirement match. The Madness, the Macho King, and the Ultimate Warrior. The Macho King interfered in that Royal Rumble Heavyweight Championship match, and I'm on the move because, of course, somebody needed my parking space, and I was about to pull off, so I'm just that type of guy that I'm not going to sit in the parking space for another 5 minutes and pull off while you're stuck. I'll expedite the situation. Anyway, so where was I? Yeah. So the Macho Man, the Macho King, cost the Ultimate Warrior the championship by hitting the Ultimate Warrior over the head with a scepter. Behind the referee's back, 1, 2, 3, new champion, and of course now we have a fully fledged blood feud going into WrestleMania. But everybody had to wonder, darn, a retirement match? Are they real? Are one of these wrestlers are leaving the WWF? Are one of these wrestlers actually going to retire? Is it going to be the end of the Macho Madness, the Macho King? Is the Ultimate Warrior actually leaving? These are all things that would come to my head. Now, the sentimental part was this. This was another WrestleMania that I was actually able to watch live. My mother had a boyfriend. My mother had a friend, and I called him Uncle Chuck, Mr. Minetti, and he was a very significant figure in my young life. You know, he helped me and my mom's out, right? So I'm not gonna get on into the intricacies because, like I said, I try to keep these little no longer than 20 minutes now. So we went to his house to watch WrestleMania 7 live and in color. Needless to say, we was not supposed to be in his house at that time, but you know, he had a window of time, a window of opportunity, and we took advantage of that opportunity. Not only that, he had one of these slot machines in the crib, and it had real live change. And he was like, "Listen, you hit the jackpot, but you get to keep whatever's in there." So he would give me some coins here and there, and yeah, I won the jackpot. So yeah, just move across the street. So that always brings back fond memories of WrestleMania 7. Now, I knew Hulk Hogan was going to win. Like, you're not leading up to this and having him legitimately, well, in their eyes, take up the fight for America and going to have him lose to the Iraqi sympathizer. That's not going to happen. So I knew Hulk Hogan was going to win. Did I want him to win? No. Was I happy that they actually showed some blood? Yeah. And the blood of Hulk Hogan leaking? Yeah. But I knew the outcome. But what I didn't know the outcome of was the match between the Macho Man and the Ultimate Warrior. And when I say this was a classic, you would not think, when you wouldn't put together a classic match and the Ultimate Warrior, you wouldn't put those two things together. But in this case, it actually was. Like, I think they went about 25 minutes. They kicked out of each other's finishes. There was a sequence in which the Macho Man did about 4 or 5 elbows from the top rope. Put his foot on the Ultimate Warrior, and the Ultimate Warrior kicked out. But beforehand, this is when WWF was still in the theatrics. Well, actually started the theatrics. The Warrior was beating the Macho Man to a pulp, but he couldn't put him away. So he kept on looking at his hands, like the gods from above was not giving him the power that was needed. So he kept on looking to the sky above, like, why are you forsaking me? Which is crazy that I'm talking about this on Palm Sunday, Passover. But literally, he was looking to his hands like, all right, maybe my fate is that I'm the one that needs their career to be ended. Maybe I'm the one that needs to go away. So he literally started walking away. And the Macho Man was whooping his ass. And somehow, some way, he got a sign from above that no, his time was not now. And he got the power from the heavens, the earth, the warriors of the past. And I think he shoulder blocked the Macho Man into oblivion. Not only did he shoulder block the Macho Man into oblivion, do you know he sent the Macho Man into retirement by literally pinning him with one foot on his chest while he was raising his hands up for the 3 count? I'm looking at this like, wow. Like I said, this is before I know all the insider terms of, yo, he putting him over strong. Oh, he's getting better. No, it's none of that. It was to cement the point of Warrior goes on, Macho Man time is over. In the aftermath, remember, WrestleMania 5, if I did not say in the last episode, and I think I might have been remiss to say it, that was the breakup between the Macho Man and Elizabeth. And that's when Scary Sherry, Sensational Sherry, Queen Sherry came in. So at the end, when the Macho Man lost, of course, Queen Sherry is like, look, can't deal with no loser. I gotta get on the next bandwagon. I gotta hitch my wagon to the next breadwinner and start commencing to beating the shit out the Macho Man. Who came to the Macho Man's rescue? She was shown earlier during the match in the crowd, none other than the lovely Elizabeth. And the lovely Elizabeth never got physical with anybody. She came into that ring and she grabbed the Macho Queen Sherry, threw her off her man, hugged her man, and stayed with her man into retirement. And that led into SummerSlam, where they had the match made in heaven, the match made in hell. The match made in heaven was the official marriage of the Macho Man and the lovely Elizabeth. We didn't know that in real life. Not only were they headed for a divorce, I believe they were divorced at the time. So everything that was going on in real life was the total opposite of what was going on behind the scenes. But once again, this is 14-year-old Mike Steph. Mike Steph doesn't know these things. Mike Steph only knows what he sees on TV and what he reads in the aftermaths, which were kayfabe. But yeah, WrestleMania 7. Shoot, it was. I mean, I think they had another match. I think this is one of the last matches of Demolition. I think they lost to a Japanese team. You had Big Boss Man lost against Mr. Perfect, even though that was like a fill-in because his feud was actually against Bobby Heenan and Ravishing Rick, because Ravishing Rick and Bobby Heenan had months and months and months of mama jokes toward the Big Boss Man, talk about his mama so ugly, his mama so fat, his mama so this, his mama so that. And I think Ravishing Rick left and Mr. Perfect had to end up picking it up. But yeah, that was another match. You had the infamous blindfold match with Jake the Snake and Rick the Model Martel, which was stupid. It really was stupid, but it was a match. And yeah, that's all I can remember. I mean, I know they had some other matches, but either here or there. You know, I think there was there, darn, I want to say, did the Legion of Doom lose to, I think the Legion of Doom lost their titles to the Nasty Boys. I think that was the thing. Or was it the Hart Foundation lost the titles to the Nasty Boys? I think the Hart Foundation lost their titles to the Nasty Boys. And then SummerSlam, the Legion of Doom beat the Nasty Boys with the help of the Hart Foundation. Something to that effect. Yeah, something like that. But WrestleMania 7, like I said, you had to be there. Darn, can't even park there. Can I get into this spot? I think so, because I'm a master parker. Better than being a masturbator. Hold on 1 minute. Yeah, I think that's pretty much, that's all of merit, all of importance that happened at WrestleMania 7. Next edition will be WrestleMania 8, which, I won't say sentimental, but I remember exactly where I saw WrestleMania 8 at. It was high school years. Didn't see it in my house. This is also the quasi-fake retirement of Hulk Hogan. You know, his last match. But this was right around the time the steroid rumors started coming. You thought you had another changing of the guard. And someone who we bid adieu to at WrestleMania 7 not only rears his head back, but is triumphant and has reached the top of the mountain. Plus, we have the WrestleMania debut of someone who would like to say, "Woo!" Yeah, how's that for a teaser? Yeah, I know it. So, until next edition, later. Goodbye.